Nerdly fact of the day. While filming Hocus Pocus, the scene where Bill Butcherson has his head removed by the tree and has to wander around as a headless body, the production hired a real amputee to film the scenes.
To give it more realism. Lori, say something.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Lori. I'll do my best.
You know what the best horror movie is?
The best one of all
It's a trick
time.
question! Horror movies suck!
Yeet!
Hold on, I have to sneeze.
Is this a long silence, or did Brad just mess up the editing again?
Anyways, alright, let's get started. 1, 2, 3, do it! Is that our intro song?
That's actually the theme song to Cowboy Bebop.
No.
So no.
Because it does the whole 1, 2. And you say,
Oh, jeez, oh man. Alright. Hello, internet peoples, you nerdly peoples, you. Welcome to Nerdly Kingdom, where we talk about what the best Halloween song is. The Spooky Scary Skeletons remix or Ludo's Skeletons on Parade. Go. Lori, which one's the best one? You're wrong.
the best Halloween song is the Halloween dance song.
Halloween dance song?
Yeah, it's the end credit song I use in my Halloween movie.
Oh, okay.
Shameless self-plug.
Speaking of...
Spooky Scary Skeletons is okay. It's good, it's fun, it's smooth. But I feel like Ludo's Skeleton on Parade is more accurate song for the build-up of Halloween and the skeleton war.
You say that. However, in my head, I still only hear Bulls on Parade. But with skeletons.
Bulls on Parade.
Yeah, Rage Against the Machine.
Why the fuck would you think I would know a Rage Against the Machine song?
Because it was on Guitar Hero.
Because, Brad, you fight the system.
I got nothing.
They played in my car. I'm
Got
offended.
no idea what song you're talking about. Anyways.
Oh, but speaking of Halloween music, you guys can go. We'll post it on our Instagram and our Twitter, and you'll see it. You'll see it before you actually hear this. But if you're hearing it first, we have a nice little spooky Spotify playlist.
So, anyways, yeah, I might even sponsor the Instagram post for like $1, just so it'll let me have a link at the bottom so they can click it and it'll go straight to the Spotify playlist.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Cheating the system for $1.
Rage Against the Machine.
I ain't part of your system. I threw it on the ground. We just watched that. All right, so I saw the Halloween movie.
I have not.
It was okay.
I haven't seen it. I've never seen the original.
I quite enjoyed the second half of the movie, but like when I go see more realistic horror movies, and it depends on the day, and I never know which way it's gonna swing until it happens. Sometimes those movies will like trigger me in the actual sense of the word, and I will have like full-blown panic attacks in the movie theater. And that happened while I was watching it with Alicia.
Oh, wow.
Oof.
Yeah, it was fun. And I know it got so bad because by the second half of the movie, I was like perfectly calm, like stopped shaking, like absolutely dead calm. And that's peak anxiety attack. That's how I knew it was bad. And like on the ride home, like I swear I was shaking so bad the whole car was shaking. It was
wow.
It was bad. That being said, though, it was a decent movie. I really enjoyed it. You could tell that the guy that made the original made that one because it just felt like that kind of movie.
It's actually not the guy that made the original.
I thought the guy that wrote it was the guy that wrote the original. That's what Alicia told me.
He did the music.
Oh, okay. Well, you can tell.
The new one was actually done by Danny McBride and the David Gordon Green.
Regardless. Well, you could tell whoever did it. You could tell they actually wanted to make that movie, and it wasn't like a cheap cash grab. Like it was a well written, and the ending was really, really good. Like they were building up this whole thing, and then at the end, it's like it's kind of a twist, but not really. And it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I will never watch it again. It's like Alicia wants me to watch Your Next, and I didn't make it past the first 10 minutes before I started freaking out. I can't do it. I can't do murder movies, man. I can do some. Like I watched Hush with no problem, and I watched what was that movie with the old man and he's blind?
Don't Breathe.
Don't Breathe. That was a really good movie. I watched that one. That was fine. And any like scary like supernatural movie like The Nun. There's never been a bad movie in the Conjuring series. It's just they're all just fucking awesome. Watch every single one of them.
I haven't watched any.
Conjuring 1, Conjuring 2, that weird one about the doll that I can't remember.
Annabelle.
The Nun. I feel like there's one more.
No, I think that's all.
Is that all of them?
Yeah. There's 2 Annabelle movies, 2 Conjuring movies, The Nun.
That's right. See, I haven't seen the other Annabelle movie.
And they've got they're making a movie about the Crooked Man.
There was a crooked man
who had a crooked smile.
Who lived in a crooked house
for a while.
They're doing another one that takes place in the Conjuring universe, but I can't remember what it's called.
They're all really good. I wonder if they're all done by the same people, or I don't know.
It's got the same producer, I think.
Me and Alicia saw a trailer for a movie that looked really interesting. I can't remember, but while I'm trying to remember what that is, because I don't really have much more else to say about the Halloween movie. I mean, it is a Halloween movie.
Yeah.
Although I will say, see, now that I'm trying to say it, I forget it. Oh, what was it? Oh, that's what. The very beginning, you have these 2 people, and like they're interviewing this guy. I was like, they're doing a podcast. And Alicia's like, how do you know they're doing a podcast? I was like, see that microphone they're holding? That's a Zoom right there. I almost bought one of those. Or a Tams cam. They look very similar.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm pretty sure from where I look, it looks like an H6 because it's got the big things and the extra outputs on the side. But
funny.
She's like, she's like, it's sad. I was like, I almost, I thought about getting some, but I decided not to. I don't need them. I was gonna get that digital recorder so we could record us, but now I'm gonna get that big one so I can record like everyone at the same time.
Brad wants to be able to record the entire world.
It's only got 8 inputs.
Okay, so the entire world divided by 8. All on, like,
but
everyone just circles
we could play, like, a full-on Left 4 Dead versus thing with 4 people on each side, and I could record all of us at the same time. We'd all need a computer, though.
I have one, but will it play it?
Left 4 Dead?
No.
Almost definitely.
I've got
so
both Left 4
you could
Dead
probably
games on a
Left 4
computer.
Dead is like 100 years old. You could almost definitely run it.
Okay.
Dakota's laptop that doesn't have a video card can run it.
Okay, it's like, my computer can run Dragon Age Origins.
I know, right? Like,
it's crazy.
I mean, it technically kind of has a video card, sort of, in a weird kind of, not really kind of way. Yeah. It's really weird. That computer is like all sorts of funky.
Is my phone even charging?
But let's talk about the most important thing.
Halloween.
Hear William complain about why the hell is Rocky Horror considered a Halloween movie?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Okay.
Why is Rocky Horror?
Because you said that in the Discord. I was like, that's a good question.
So I feel I have this. Because I even told Brad I'm ready to defend it.
So.
Learn me, Lord.
Okay.
Learn me this.
Teach us about Intergalactical Rapist the musical.
Intergalactical Rapist the musical.
It's actually it's that Bo Burnham.
Explain why they thought Rocky Horror Live was a good idea.
Well, Bo Burnham has that joke where he's like, I rewrote the Grapes of Wrath to be about an intergalactic rapist called the Rapes of Grath.
I remember that. But no, so Rocky Horror is very much kind of a Frankenstein-esque story. It's got the whole idea of him trying to create a human. Of course, it's for his own sexual gratification and stuff like that.
To be fair, if anyone other than Dr. Frankenstein had made a person, that's what they would do.
Yeah, and
people suck.
And it's like that's even his name is Frankenfooter, like it's and everything. And you've got his previous experiment, which was Eddie. You've got like kind of this whole like almost cult that you realize is all the aliens and everything, and they're actually just kind of there. Like the story gets weird, and I still don't know if I fully understand what happens by the end of this movie.
I don't.
But it's just kind of that it uses a lot of generic horror stuff, a lot of generic sci-fi stuff all thrown together. So it kind of works for Halloween. It kind of inspires people to dress up in costume and stuff, so it really works to do like an event around Halloween for it.
Sure.
And so that's
Still didn't like
I think kind of why. I mean, it's not everyone's cup of tea.
That's fine, yeah. Because like I didn't like that movie, and someone's like, "You like Big Lebowski?" I was like, "Yeah, that's not for everyone either. It's fine."
Like, and me and Josh even talked about it because Rocky Horror does have problematic terminology in it. However, for the time that it was released, though, it was really progressive. And that terminology wasn't problematic then. That was terminology that was actually used at that time. So it is
It's too bad, like, one of the most famous transgender people, is a rapist, but that's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, and it's, and...
But it's not like they glorify that. He very clearly is, like, a bad guy.
Yeah, he's pretty trashy and everything, and it's, it's a pretty progressive... It's like Pride at Halloween. Like, everyone comes out, instead of in rainbows, they come out in... fishnets and black leather.
That was my my biggest issue with Rocky Horror Live.
The
was
fishnets?
That, no, talking about the character himself.
I
like Laverne Cox, but I felt like she was very miscast for that.
I think I love Laverne Cox. I think she did a lovely job. I love that they changed gender pronouns in it. In Rocky Horror Live, anytime that he was used in the original, they used she.
It does seem odd they used he in the original.
Well, it's because Frankenfooter does, like, use he, him pronouns. He just dresses feminine.
Like, yeah, I know, but he specifically calls himself, I don't know, it's granted, I guess if that's...
I think the weird part with me is that he's obviously just a man in women's clothes. He transvestite, and they went with transgender like, in the live show.
But the thing is, in the show they went transgender, but in the original, it's like he doesn't see himself as a woman.
That's true.
He just likes the
feminine
clothes.
Whatever boats his float.
Yeah. And
except for, all of the rest of the movie. But yes.
Not to mention, Tim Curry's legs were at a 100 in that movie.
That's like one of those roles that you can't do anyone else. Tim Curry is just like forever associated with
I will forever. There is and I watch it every year. I honestly kind of watch it more than I watch the actual movie. The British theater put on a live stage performance as like a celebratory anniversary sort of thing, and it was amusing because they're like, we have to do something because in the movie Frankenfooter's British, everyone else is like American, but Frankenfooter's British. In this, everyone's British, so they're like, what can we do? So they made Frankenfooter American.
Why not?
And he is fantastic. He's shorter than I would have, than you would picture, because you're so used to seeing Tim Curry, and Tim Curry's like legs for days. But oh my god, he plays Frankenfooter so great, and I love it so much. But it's just fun.
Alright, next in the list of overrated Halloween movies, Hocus Pocus.
I watched Hocus Pocus for the first time last night.
It's a cute movie, isn't it?
I had nothing. I had nothing actually against it. I've never seen it. I'm just people like to bash on it, so I figure I'll join the next part.
It's super.
Hocus Pocus is awful. The worst part is when they hocus and they pocus and they blow the house down. I have no idea what.
No, but I watched it for the very first time last night, and I've spent years with having everyone just go orgasmically talk about
it's
Hocus
like Nightmare
Pocus.
Before Christmas.
Yeah. And I've just never seen it, so I'm just I don't understand what the big deal is.
It's genuinely, they did such a good job because it really is a horror movie for kids.
It really is, and I was really surprised because when you look at kid movies now and how tame they are, and then in the opening scenes of Hocus Pocus, you see them suck the soul out of a 7-year-old girl,
and then to the brother say, "Oh, we're not gonna kill you. We're gonna make you live forever, so you can never see your sister again."
Yeah, and I was like, "Damn, this shit's actually super dark."
And it's like they come back because the boy lights the candle, the black flame candle, and he's a virgin. And so it said when a virgin lights the black flame candle, the sisters will come back.
Oh,
and everything, but. It's a good Halloween movie.
It is. I liked it.
That was Doug Jones's first big role.
It was, and it's so funny because that's the only role I've ever seen him in where I can actually tell it's him. But interesting.
He was like he was talking about it. I watched the it was like the 20th or like the 25th anniversary. They did a big thing where they came out talking, and they're like, we didn't expect it to be this big. It flopped in theaters because it came out in the spring, the same weekend as Jurassic Park.
Why did it come out in the spring?
It was the same year Nightmare Before Christmas came out. And so they were trying to separate the two.
So they decided to compete with Jurassic Park instead.
So they didn't want Hocus Pocus and Nightmare Before Christmas come out at the same time because they didn't want them competing with each other. Kind of like the same way we got Han Solo in spring this year instead of December because Mary Poppins Return comes out for holidays.
But that one kind of works though because Solo's not a Christmas movie.
Well, I mean, at the same time, Disney never wants their stuff competing with their stuff.
Yeah, so. And I mean, that makes sense. But it completely flopped. And then, all of a sudden, it just kind of started gaining traction. Yeah.
Because our generation loved it to death, I guess. Yeah, I really liked it. I found out last night, watching it, the scene where Doug Jones, Bill Butcherson cuts the things off his mouth in the malls.
Yeah.
They were actual malls he was holding in his mouth.
What it was, and they talked about it in the 20th anniversary.
That sounds like a nerdly fact. They were actual malls.
But no, it was a pouch because moths can't fly in a moist environment. Yeah. And so it was a pouch to keep them dry that he had to put in his mouth that also had powder and the moths in it. And so when he opened his mouth, he could go, and it would push the moths and the dust out. And I was like, thinking about that makes me nauseous, having to hold that in my mouth. Like,
they're in a pouch.
And so
I love watching Doug Jones characters because he moves his limbs in such unique ways.
Man, when he walked out on stage just as himself, he's a
lanky dude.
He is. And he was like, he goes, I had to sit in makeup for, I can't remember how many hours he said. And he goes, who knew that would end in me for years sitting in makeup? And I was like, oh, Doug Jones.
But I really liked it.
I thought it was shit. One of us has to disagree. That's just the way it works.
Genuinely, I think you'd enjoy it. It is a pretty enjoyable little movie.
There is one movie that I think's really overrated, Halloween related, but I can't remember what it is now.
Then why did you even bring up that sentence?
Children of the Corn is overrated.
I've never seen it.
That movie's boring as shit.
I don't know.
It's an interesting idea, but they just made it so boring in the movie. I was just like, this is boring.
I think, and I'm shocked I haven't watched them yet. 3 of my favorite Halloween movies, and I have to say 3 because it's a trilogy, is The Evil Dead, Evil Dead 2, and Army of Darkness. Because Evil Dead 1, they try to be so serious, and it's just so camp. So they redid the first movie as the second movie, and it's almost the exact same storyline, but they went a lot more camp. And then the third movie's just so out there that if you watch the first one, you're like, how did we get to this? And I love it because Bruce Campbell is an American gem.
I don't know about that.
I love the Evil Dead movies, including the remake.
I haven't watched the remake.
I love the remake. It is so good. That's not sarcasm.
That sounded so
I really do love it. It's so great.
I haven't seen the
Maggie
remake.
refuses to watch it, and it makes me so mad.
I heard that they followed the first one really well and just
it was what they were trying to do with the first one, where it's an actual super serious and dark, gory horror movie.
Because Sam Raimi worked on it.
Yeah, he wrote the script and produced it, or he co-wrote the script and produced it, and it's so good. Oh, it's so good. I love it so much. And
but
they were going to make another Evil Dead movie because they did the Evil Dead reboot and then they did the TV show Ash vs. the Evil Dead.
Yes.
And they were going to do
such a cheesy show, and I love it.
And they were going to make another Evil Dead movie that connected the movies so that the girl main character from the Evil Dead remake and Ash were going to have a movie together.
Oh, wow.
But
that would
it never happened, so.
That might be for the best.
But Evil Dead, and I talked about in an old podcast, the original Evil Dead had such a low budget, and like the rigs and the different ideas that Sam Raimi came up with to get the shots that he needed are still stuff that's used today. Like,
interesting tidbit about Evil Dead, and that Bruce Campbell did an interview where he talked about having to wear the shirt on set every day, and how it got so covered in blood that it was just stale. And it would crack, and by the time they were done filming, he was breaking pieces off of the shirt because of the fake blood that stained it. And I was like, I feel that. Because for the year that we filmed Teenage Wasteland, we never washed our costumes. And so...
I bet that set smelled ripe.
The bag I kept my costume in was the worst smelling bag. Because I was wearing...
The fact you didn't even, like, have them hung up somewhere to where at least they could air out, and you just put it in a bag so it could steep in its juices.
Because I was wearing a long-sleeve white thermal shirt, a flannel shirt over that, and I was wearing Long John thermal pants under my pants. And so I would just take them off and throw them all in the bag when we were done filming, and they just... And the shirt Jordan wore... did the same thing the Bruce Campbell thing did. It accumulated so much sweat that it was just stiff, and I'd have to help him put it on.
That is disgusting.
It was bad, but it helped us get in character
because y'all are angry.
It helped,
and slightly nauseous.
Yeah, that's nasty.
But I have no idea what actually happened to that, because they cleaned out their attic because they're building a new bedroom into the upstairs of their house. And that's where I had the bag my clothes were in that attic, and they disappeared.
Oh my God! Somewhere those cursed objects are just laying about.
We're convinced they gained sentience.
They said they came alive.
It gained sentience, because we just have no idea where it
went.
The
bacteria that was in it just hive-minded the outfit.
I think so. I'm just like, it's probably a good thing that bag disappeared, because there's no telling like what it would do if you open it at this point. It'd just be green smell. You'd probably pass out.
You just like disintegrate.
All of a sudden, the bubonic plague comes back.
Jesus.
And it's because of those clothes.
Black Death. All right, next on the list. You made me think, like, is Nightmare Before Christmas a Halloween movie or a Christmas movie?
Both.
I consider it.
You can't watch it. Halloween. You can't watch a movie twice in 1 year. That's blasphemy.
I consider it Halloween.
I mean, it can...
You're not even supposed to watch a movie more than once, according to MoviePass.
And only 2 weeks after it came out.
Oh, boy.
It's like, I don't know, because, I mean, it can play for both. It's like, I'll argue that it's both. You can watch it at Halloween, you can watch it at Christmas. They both kind of work.
It usually plays on TV at Christmas time, which is a joke. Halloween. There's more Halloween shit in that movie.
So you're voting Halloween then?
It literally takes place entirely in a Halloween town.
At Christmas.
Yeah.
Who cares? It's a Halloween movie.
Okay.
It's a bi movie. It's both.
It's both. It's a bi.
Stop trying to put it into one.
Jesus.
Not many of y'all have seen Dead Alive, have you? No. Also known as Brain Dead.
No.
It's that Peter Jackson movie that has the record for the most blood ever used on a film set. The bloodiest, goriest movie ever made.
Sounds bad.
And boy, is it.
Oh,
Oh, damn. It's great. It's so good.
I have to look it up. So at Atrox this year, they were showing, they show movies. And there was one movie with...
Why are you looking that up? I love how last time we went to Atrox, they showed Kung Fury.
Oh my God. They're making a second one.
That's not a Halloween movie.
They're making a second one, and Michael Fassbender's going to be in it.
Yeah,
I haven't been to Atrox in like 5 years.
It just seems so odd to do Kung Fury, but it was so worth it.
I like Sloss better than Atrox.
You are the 1%.
I've had much more fulfilling experiences at Sloss than Atrox. Atrox is very...
Maybe you're just haunted housing wrong.
Atrox is very generic and boring. At Sloss, they actually grab me and slam me up against walls.
They're not supposed to. They're not supposed to touch you at Sloss. It's Atrox.
They can do whatever they want at Sloss.
No, they're not supposed to touch you.
No, they can do whatever they want.
No, they're not supposed to touch you.
That's not in my experience.
That's the whole thing in Sloss.
Of course, I know people that work there, so they've probably made exceptions with me.
It's possible. At Atrox, you can buy a thing so they can't touch you, so they know who to touch.
But it's
so funny. We went with someone, like, you have this like glow in the dark ring, and if they have it on, they'll touch you and like grab you and take you places. And one of the people we went with started freaking out, and he threw it in the ground, and Alicia picked it up and hooked it to her. So she was wearing two. She's like, "Bring it!" It was so funny because that was like and this is probably gonna break my chain. I can't even remember how many years now. I'd have to do the math, but I think it's like 18 years in a row I went to haunted houses now, and they used to freak me out.
I have it. Oh, that is the movie you were talking about. I have seen that movie. That movie is garbage, and I love it.
Oh, that's great.
But like 18 years in a row, we went to a haunted house, and I ended up leading, and like I just didn't give a shit. Like I just did not care. It got to the point where I realized like I don't care anymore about this. They just walk at me like, "Blah!" I'm like, how's it going?
Most groups I go to with nowadays, we don't even stay together. We just end up kind of wandering off from each other.
The best thing about Aatrox last year, we went to this house, and the guy's like, "I'll see you soon." I was like, "Okay, cool." And we kept walking, and it loops around. You come out of the same door. It's like, "I told you I'd see you soon." I was like, "That was good. This guy knows what's going on. That was great. That's the best part of the whole thing."
So far this year, I've been to 4 haunted houses.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I went to Sloss opening night, and it was pretty fun. It was Sloss. I mean, there's not really much else that you can say about it.
You went to the same factory, saw the same thing, saw
when
the same dude.
I guess it kind of depends on when you go.
I went opening night.
Oh, did you?
Which should be a big night because
it's Jordan was working when you went.
And everything, and it's like, I don't know, I feel they rely too much on the environment and not on like actually their
which lately they've had to dial back a little bit, because last year there was that big thing about one of the actresses biting someone.
That's what? Why? But then
what? Why would she do that?
Well, I'll talk about it later.
The next night,
big story. Like I talked to Jordan about what had happened, and it's just this big thing.
The next night, I went to Aatrox, which this is Aatrox, I think 20th anniversary. Mm-hmm. So they're really pulling out all the stops, and it's really good this year, like really good. Then I went to Warehouse 31, which I've never been to Warehouse 31 before, and oh my god, the only complaint I have about it was the people in front of me. Because it was a group of 4 very drunk, like kind of older people, like mid-40s or something. There were 4 of them.
It's not really older to us anymore. But...
Three men and like a woman.
Yeah.
And you know, haunted houses are done. There's a scene, you walk. There's a scene, you walk. There's a scene, you walk. That's basically how it's set up. Every time they got to a scene, the monster would scare the woman. The woman would scream at the monster. One of the men would scream at the woman. The woman would scream at the man. The 2 other people would hold them apart while they screamed at each other. This happened in every single room we went into. So we would stand back, let that unfold, and then we would walk through. The issue with that was there's people behind you too.
Yeah.
3 groups caught up with us because we had to keep waiting on them. This woman they were all so wasted. They got yelled at for touching one of the actors. Like, the actor yelled at him. Yeah. The actor complimented my hat because I got a really cool Marvel hat now. But the actor yelled at him for touching him and said, "Don't touch the monsters." And I was like, yeah, like, what's your problem? And everything. Then proceeded to ask us if we had any weed. Like, she came up to us while we were in line. She goes, "Y'all have any weed?" And we're like, "No." And she goes, "Man, ain't nobody around here got anything." And I'm like,
"Bring your own shit."
You're a haunted house.
But yeah. No. And then I went to one called Hellbilly Hollow. And it's out in Vincent, Alabama. Yeah, I didn't know that was a place either. But
Never heard of it.
It was a lot of fun. It's one of those kind of like lower budget haunted houses. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they work really hard on those too. Yeah. Oh my God, I had so much fun at that one.
When I went to Sloss, the most fun I've ever had at a haunted house was 2 years ago. I think it was either 2015 or 2016 Sloss. We went because it was one of my friend's birthday, and we were going to Sloss, and then we were going out to the bar. And it was on a Wednesday night, so it was very slow. We were like the only ones there. And so they were like being extra touchy and interactive with us. And so we were getting like slammed against walls and like pulled into these weird things and pushed back out. And
see, I feel sloths would be legit scary if it was like that.
it was so much fun. We got to the tunnel, and in the tunnel, most of the people I know that work there work in the tunnels. And so the dude ended up grabbing one of us, and two of us stayed in the tunnel to convince this actor to let our friend go, and he was just like, no. And we were down there for literally 20 minutes before they finally let her go. And so by the time we got to the clown maze, none of the clowns were in there. And so we walked through the clown maze, there are no clowns, and when we made it out, all the clowns were hanging out outside. And my friend was like, hey, you missed us. And they all jumped up, ran to us, grabbed us, threw us back into the clown maze in one of their secret doors. And so we have no idea what part of the maze we got thrown into. So we're all four running around this clown maze getting chased by the clowns. And it was the most fun I've ever had.
That sounds like a dream. Like, just that William had, like, a dream.
I scared one of the clowns, too, because they cornered one of my friends, and I hit around the corner and went, boo! And he went, oh, you scared me! But at the end, they finally let us out after, like, 15 minutes of them chasing us through this maze. And the main clown that's been working there for years is like, yeah, you thought we didn't get you. You said we didn't. We missed you, huh? But the last year when I went, last year was so boring because, I went with my friends that work there, and it was on their off day.
Meaning that, like, all the fun
So, like, all of the monster and actors were just talking to us. We would walk through, and they'd be like, hey. And it was just boring.
The best haunted house I've ever gone to is Nashville Nightmare in, of course, Nashville, Tennessee. And it's
Where's that at?
The sad thing is I almost answered without even thinking.
It's in Atlanta.
Yeah, it's in Atlanta. And it's 4 haunted houses. And so it's like you buy your ticket and it's like $25-$30 and it covers all 4 houses. And the first one's like a typical haunted house, ooh, scary. The second one that year was because The Nun had just come out, and so it was a convent. Like, the entire thing was a convent. And apparently my aesthetic is spooky religion and everything. It's like there was a part in one of the haunted houses I went into that had like an evil Pope-looking guy, and I was like, apparently this is my aesthetic because this is cool.
You listen to a ghost?
He looked like Ghost. And so, and it was kind of creepy. That was whenever the girl behind me like fell to her knees and almost took me with her because she didn't let go of my shoulders when she did it. And then the next one, I don't even remember the next one. And then like the last one was Haunted Fairy Tales.
That's cool.
Or like Twisted Fairy Tales. So it wasn't so much scary as just creepy.
Disturbing.
Because that was the one that I pulled out my phone to make sure that it was, and the guy yelled at me for pulling out my phone, and I told him, oh, I was moving it from my jacket pocket to my pants, and he yelled at me, and I was like, no, I'm sorry, I'm just putting, and he's like, do you always talk this much? And I was like, yes. And he was like, well, shut up and get in line. And I'm like, okay.
Jesus. I'm trying to find a picture of Jordan in his nun costume, but I'm going to show you.
But they were really cool. I talked with one of the actors outside, and I was telling him that it was probably one of the best haunted houses I'd been to. And he broke his character, like, because they have actual actors, like, outside. Yeah. And he broke character, and he's like, it's really good to get to hear that. He goes, I've been doing this for years, and I just love how much people enjoy it. And then I got a picture with him.
So anyways, Lori, what's your favorite Halloween movie?
My favorite Halloween movie?
Yep. Wrong!
Well, I'm not going to say the one because I know that that's probably the one you're going to go with.
I mean, maybe.
And so I want to go with...
Can I just say Night Before Christmas?
Is this
You'll go, no, it's a Christmas movie!
Is this a horror movie or Halloween movie?
Preferably Halloween movie, but you can say horror movie.
Yeah.
I know my favorite.
One of each.
I got my favorite Halloween movie. Should I say it?
Yeah.
Trick or
Wrong!
Trick or Treat is the best Halloween movie.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is Trick or Treat. Definitely
Trick or Treat's really good.
I've been trying to find a copy of it. I can't find one anywhere.
Is it still in...
I got to order it online.
I want to get a digital copy.
That's the same way with my copy of Dead Alive. They don't make copies of Dead Alive anymore, Brain Dead. And if you buy them online, they're like really expensive. And I just happened to, one of the guys at the trade day that sold DVDs happened to have a copy, and I got it for like $1.50.
I have Trick or Treat on DVD.
I've been trying to get Blu-ray.
That's how I am with one of the DVDs I want. It's called Rigoletto, and I want it really bad. And it's like one of those movies that came with the like, you can get family DVDs for this price and what. And it's one of those movies. And so it's like, I found the DVD, but it's like $30-something. And I'm like, well, I guess that's what I'm going to pay for it. But
delete Netflix is not anymore.
Off his nun pictures.
So what's your favorite Halloween movie, Lori?
I'm torn between either Evil Dead, like just the whole Evil Dead trilogy.
All of them at once. One sitting.
All playing
including
at once.
The TV show. All in one sitting.
Including all 3 seasons of the TV show.
Jesus.
Or I love Practical Magic. Which...
I forgot about Practical Magic. That's a pretty good one.
It's a really good movie. Practical Magic is such a... I bought it on Amazon because I was like, I need this movie in my life. Yeet and hit buy. It's a dangerous thing.
Mom just...
oh, wow. That's really good.
Mom just finished watching...
Joker.
I just saw the name. What is it? The Haunting of Hill House, and she said it was one of the best things ever.
I've heard so much good stuff from that.
Yeah, she loved it. Like, to the point that when it got to the season finale, she locked me and Josh in his room because she didn't want to hear us while the finale was going because she was that into it.
Wow.
She's like, you stay in there! And she closed the door and she, like, nailed it shut and then, like, taped the door. Not really, but it was pretty close to that. But yeah, I think that's all we have to say. Not a whole lot of Halloween stuff. We're not very Halloween-y people.
Also,
best horror movie ever made is Nightmare on Elm Street.
I've never seen it.
Or The Thing. One of those two.
The Thing is good. Which Thing?
The John Carpenter. Kurt Russell.
I was going to say, that's the Kurt Russell one, which is a remake of, like, the super old one.
They're all
Which is a remake of a short story.
Yeet.
Technically speaking, the newest one isn't a remake.
It's a prequel.
It's a prequel. Which I didn't know.
Ooh.
It's actually really interesting, though, that it is a prequel.
I haven't seen it. I've been wanting to see it.
I went halfway through and then stopped watching because I ended up in a conversation with someone because I couldn't figure out who the main actress was in that movie.
Yeah.
And we paused it and I looked over and I couldn't see her hair and I just saw her face and I immediately saw the blue hair. I was like, it's Ramona Flowers.
Mm-hmm. She's
the villain in Sky High.
She's also in that
Swiss Army Man.
That's not what I was gonna say. With Justin Long.
10 Cloverfield Lane.
Oh, well, yes, that.
I'm just going to keep naming random movies.
With Bruce Willis.
Live Free or Die.
Die Hard.
Yeah. Is it Live Free or Die Hard?
Mm-hmm.
That one was
one
okay.
Of the Die Hard movies.
I can complain about that movie for a while, but that's a whole different podcast.
One other...
Hey, Laura, you seen any good movies lately?
I haven't watched anything lately. But no, I was going to say another Halloween type thing that has a lot of opinions is American Horror Story.
Yeah.
I fucking hate American Horror Story.
It's hit or miss.
I like the first season.
What was that?
The can just jumped off the table.
The second season started out good
Ghost
and then
is
got
mad
bad.
And which one's the second season?
Asylum.
Oh, yeah.
One of my favorites.
I just never bothered to watch. I've seen like episodes scattered throughout the other seasons.
Fucking hate witches. But Coven was really good.
Coven's very good.
Other than that, can I change my opinion to Coraline? Does that count as a Halloween movie?
Yes.
Yeah, that was a Halloween movie.
I just saw it on Netflix.
Coraline is great.
They've released a pop figure of the Coraline doll. And, like, the skin on it's even textured like a doll.
That's weird.
It's super creepy.
How do you feel about Hellraiser?
I've never seen Hellraiser.
I have a Sherlock Holmes book that's based in the Hellraiser universe.
Okay.
That's the only input I have on Hellraiser, and I haven't.
I'm going through Netflix in the horror section. Like, Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
I love that movie.
That's a good Cabin in the Woods counts? I think it's close to a Halloween.
They showed it at Sloss. It counts.
Yeah, Cabin in the Woods.
That means Kung Fury counts as a Halloween movie
because they showed it.
Because they showed it at Atrox.
I've seen like the first 5 Friday the 13th. I think.
I mean.
There is a movie they showed at Atrox this year that's called Midnight Meat Train.
I know of that movie.
That movie's so messed up. It's got Vinnie Jones playing a super bad dude, and I love.
Cooper's in that movie.
He sure is. he tries to get a picture of Vinnie Jones. I'm uncertain as to why, because they don't have subtitles on, and that's a heavy dialogue movie. So I have no idea what the plot is. I just know that there's one scene where Vinnie Jones hits a guy with a meat tenderizer, and you watch his eye like pop out of his head. And I looked online and found a GIF of it to send to my friend right next to me.
That was like,
oh God. Sorry, I was going through the horror movies and I saw something awful I forgot about.
The Witch. The first time I saw The Witch was in theaters, and I spent the whole movie not knowing what the fuck was going on because they're speaking in Old English and I couldn't understand
My
it.
favorite thing about The Witch is their promotional thing. They made a frame where you could put a picture in it, and on the advertisement of it, they had put Donald Trump's face in it.
I was going through the horror movies and teeth showed up.
I never saw it.
Teeth.
Teeth?
Teeth. You know what teeth is?
No.
Teeth.
I don't know what that is. Never heard of that.
It's the one with the teeth and the vaju, isn't it?
Oh.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound fun.
I don't know. I wonder how that movie did. Not matching very well on Netflix, apparently.
But my favorite part of Brain Dead is
Grandmother Monster's boobs.
What?
At the very
oh
end.
yeah.
I'm like,
They're
this
huge.
is so unnecessary.
But my favorite part is when
Really?
he's fighting the greaser zombie in the bathroom
I
and
don't
ends
think I
up
saw that part.
he pulls his body up and he's been sliced in half and his internal organs fall out. But then his internal organs end up becoming sentient. And
You know,
it's
like they do.
lungs, and his internal organs are moving around and doing stuff, and it's hilarious. And then the zombie baby.
Oh,
What?
you can't get it on digital. Oh, never mind. Wait, nope.
It's
that's
that
not
one. It's the first one.
It. Yeah, and you
Yeah.
can't get it on digital.
Yeah, I
That
told you like they don't.
sucks.
Teeth got an 80% critic review on Rotten Tomatoes and a 45 audience.
But yeah, Brain Dead's got a very Evil Dead feel to it. Like, they were like, oh, look at all of the blood in Evil Dead. Let's quadruple that.
Especially like at the end where
Oh
like
my god, it's just
her
blood.
stomach opens up and it's just blood, fountain of blood.
Oh my god.
I like this. One of the reviews for Teeth, it just says, it's like a punch in the face. That's it. That's all they have to say about it. Like, that doesn't explain anything.
No, my favorite part of that.
That's
that
a
line
critic
is when
review.
It's showing the dude and he's got the two meat cleavers. And it's just a front shot of him, and he's just chopping away at the camera, and he just guts and blood.
The guy gets the push mower and just sticks it down. Oh my god.
And then the part where like the dude's spine like unattaches from his body, so you just have his spine and his head hovering over his body. It's such a great movie.
It's so dumb. I love it.
I kick ass for the Lord. Did you see that part?
No, because I can't hear it because it's Aatrox.
We'll have a movie night where we just watch
but
it.
it's
Because I've thought about messaging Aatrox and being like, hey, have you guys thought about putting subtitles on your movies?
yeah, you guys can come over to my house and we'll watch it. It's great. We can have a nice. It's the perfect companion movie to Evil Dead. If you were to watch Evil Dead and that movie back to back, it was just. There it is. Because the greasers get.
This movie has such good ratings on IMDb. It's a 7.5 out of 10.
It's great. But the greasers get bitten in the graveyard.
Like, look at that.
And they become zombies, and the priest comes out at the Catholic graveyard, and he sees the zombies, and he just starts beating the shit out of them, like Kung Fu style. Like, he's doing all these sweet moves and stuff, and he goes, I kick ass for the Lord. I wish I had saved that footage that I had taken, because he kicks, like... He just does all these kicks, and it lasts like 45 seconds of him kicking this corpse, and then he does a foot sweep and like kicks the dude's legs off, and then punts his head off of his body, and it's great. Anyways,
Poltergeist is another.
Never seen Poltergeist.
The original Poltergeist
is so good.
It's so good. The remake is a decent movie, but it's not Poltergeist.
I didn't even know they remade it.
And Poltergeist was a horror thriller kind of thing.
Oh well, yeah.
Not even thriller, horror suspense kind of thing. Like you were never sure when what was going to go down went down, and then when it did, you're like, oh shit! And they build up this moment, and they build it up, and then nothing would happen. And then right as you were feeling calm again, stuff would happen, like the dude ripping his face off. And the new one was kind of like, it was more of a thriller, like you actually see them go into hell to try to get her out. Like, it looks cool and all, but it's nothing like what Poltergeist was supposed to be.
I also think the original Poltergeist, what made it what it was the people in it. Like, that little girl and everything. I actually
heard about all the Poltergeist movies. Like, they're cursed in real life. It was the weirdest thing.
Oh, yeah. The Omen, all the cast and crew of The Omen got cursed as well.
It's weird, but whatever.
But yeah, speaking of like really good Halloween movies, Poltergeist.
I feel like we're in a good period of time where we're getting some really good original horror movies, because Hereditary was really good, The Witch was really good. I've not seen The Babadook, but I've heard it's really good. It Follows was really good. It was really good. I know what you're laughing about.
I've never seen The Babadook, but I love him.
Yeah, I loved it. Like, the new one? Yeah, it was fantastic. I haven't seen the new It was so good.
Have you seen It Follows?
No.
It's really good.
I'll be honest, I peed my pants when he came out of the projector.
Really?
And I don't know. I just wasn't prepared. Like, I was like, this is getting kind of freaky. And then he's like, Brown! I was like, I gotta go to the bathroom, guys. I'll be right back.
I gotta go.
But, we're getting a lot of good modern horror.
Yeah, it only took him 100 years to figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
I like,
It's interesting to watch the progression of horror movies, though, because, like, in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, it had, like, very feminist undertones. Mm-hmm. Like, horror itself is very feminist. And then you go into, like, the 90s and the early 2000s, and that's when it really started to go from, like, empowering and overcoming obstacles to just straight up slasher, gore, TNA.
Yeah.
And it's really weird, like, look at all the horror movies that came out in the early 2000s, and it's predominantly gore and nudity.
Yeah.
And so we're just now getting right back into that sweet spot where we're getting, like, actual good horror movies.
Yeah, they've really gone, like, The Nun is, like, really psychological. Yeah. I love that The Nun has these moments where, like, you're just, like, the shit's about to happen, and it never does. And it's so much more unsettling than if they actually jump scared you, because you're like, wait, are they going to get me later? Are they going to get me? What's happening? I don't know what's going to happen. It's great.
I think they're learning that it's, like, what makes a movie, like, truly terrifying. It's like, yeah, a jump scare can make you jump.
But it's not scary.
But it's not scary. Yeah. But, like, a good psychological, just completely something twisted that takes you on a ride that messes with your mind, that's the sweet spot.
Yeah, like, I'm going to ruin The Nun a little bit. Because they go through the graveyard of the church, and there's a, they all have the bells. Mm-hmm. And it's like, what are those for? He's like, in case they're not, actually dead or whatever. He's like, has anyone ever had to use those? It's like, not that I'm aware of. And later on, the priest, who's supposed to be like the master of exorcism, the stupidest person in the whole damn movie, is like, oh, I see a ghost of someone that I tried to save. I'll just follow him into the dark woods past the crosses that protect me. That makes fucking sense.
No, but that's...
Anyways.
It's not a horror movie unless someone does something stupid.
Anyways, though, he ends up like seeing him, and the ghost pushes him, and he falls into a grave. And then, he falls, and there's, like, an open coffin in a grave, and then, like, the door shuts. And when the camera pans out, like, the ground is completely there with grass and everything, and the tombstone has his name on it, and the bell starts ringing. It was just really, really cool. Like, the way the whole, like, that whole scene just, like, terrified the fuck out of me, because he's, like, just ringing the bell. And, like, it's a weird movie the way it works, because they do that whole, like, warped reality thing. Mm-hmm. Like, he's in the coffin, and he's got a little, like, match, but he can't see past his feet. And, like, in this movie, if Shadow's there, the demon can treat it like an alternate. So, like, the shadow hands start coming through the place he can't see and start pulling him into the hole that's in the coffin while he's just bells ringing. It's a cool movie. I really like the movie.
That's what I liked about Hereditary so much, was that...
Man, people didn't like that movie.
The actor from that movie is suffering from kind of a PTSD now. It really messed with him.
But it's slow burn, but it's like it has this constant uneasiness to it, mm-hmm. that once you get to the end, you're so tense and uneasy from the vibe it gives off that you can't help but just tense up and just experience the ending. And that's what I like so much about it, is I was visibly like terrified of the ending just because of how quickly they got into it after building up everything. But I know I mentioned it in the podcast where we talked about it, which I don't think's been posted.
Yeah.
Meaning you can talk about it all over again.
Yeah. We were so tired during that. It's probably best that anyone ever
Is that the one where I was almost falling asleep?
Yeah.
But the scene where she gets decapitated on the telephone pole, it shocked me so much that I tensed up and didn't realize that I was tense until my body started to hurt.
Jesus.
I think I spent 15 minutes just tense, and like I wasn't even, conscious of it just because of the movie. I was focused on the movie, and I didn't even realize I was still tense until like my body started to ache, and I was just like, oh.
What gets me, I had the advantage of having no idea what the movie about, never seen a trailer, because they ruin a very pivotal moment in that movie in the trailer.
They do, and it's so weird.
Man, but I didn't know that, so when that happened, because like you're 100% positive what's going to happen, and you're wrong, and the other thing happens, and I'm just like, oh, damn, oh, I didn't think this movie could get any worse, and it did. Damn. Damn.
Oh my God.
Hey, Josh.
Hey, Josh.
Perfect, right? I've been listening, I know. I was waiting for y'all to shut up. It took a really long time.
Speaking of, The Shining is a good horror movie.
Oh, sweet
Just kill. You just killed Lori. I slow motion saw her just die.
Because jump scares aren't scary.
Bam! He got you, didn't he? Oh!
No, you know what scared
Josh
about that is the
done fucked
fact
your
that I
shit
didn't
up.
know anyone else was in this house, and I heard the door open.
I heard him get home. I heard someone get
I
home.
heard someone rummaging around out there.
And I started scratching on the door real quiet to try to make y'all shut up.
I did hear that. I just didn't know what it was.
Oh my
Should have done it louder.
God.
Hey, Josh.
I didn't want to mess it up too much.
We're not friends anymore, Josh.
You think after Mario Party?
You just succeeded in something that, like, 4 haunted houses this year have not done.
Thank you for listening to the Nerdly Kingdom, which has shown how much of a hypocrite Lori is.
You're expecting it, the haunted house.
All right, I think we talked enough about these movies anyway. So let's on that jump scare. Let's wrap up this episode.
All right.
For Robin, it's the best movie ever.
I don't know if that was relevant to this, but
You're late like 2 podcasts.
That's the only movie I've seen in like 3 years, so.
So.
He's like, wait, no.
That's a lie because you went with me to see Infinity War.
I wish they could see the
liar.
face I made. Where I was like, sure, yeah, and I processed that. I was like, wait, 3 years.
Anyway.
Lori, can you do the outro? Are you okay?
Yeah, I got this.
This
so,
has been Nerdly Kingdom.
If you like what you hear,
if you don't like what you hear, if you want to send hate mail to Josh, which I think you should, you can email us at
here's his telephone number.
Here's his address. Get him.
No, I live here too.
My Instagram is Joshua, JAWRSHUAH. That is hard to spell, and I don't know if it's right, but it's something like that.
Josh's name in my phone is spelled, let me go to it.
I'm gonna change Josh's name in my phone.
I can't start this podcast. I can't get it to end.
So if you like what you heard, if you don't like what you heard, if you want to send Josh hate mail, you can email us at nerdlykingdom@gmail.com. You can also get us on Twitter at _nerddom. You can get us on Instagram, which is probably the best way to get us, which is The Nerdly Kingdom. We also have a Facebook page with that same name, but we don't use that.
I love how Lori's so messed up during all of this. She's just saying all of this with her hands covering her face, looking down at the table.
So, if you want to let us know what some of your favorite Halloween movies are, what your favorite Halloween television is, check out our Nerdly Kingdom Spotify playlist, and
I don't know if it's public. I should change that. I think it is.
We'll make it public by the time I say this, and then let us know what some of your favorite Halloween traditions and stuff are. Do you like going to haunted houses, or do you like murdering people named Josh?
Or do you like scaring your friends when they're least expecting it?
We're not friends, so it doesn't count.
You like scaring your former friends when they're least expecting it.
Anyways,
this has been a Nerdly Kingdom production.
Bye.
I have to pee. You seen that video of that guy doing karaoke, but he's doing tequila?
Yeah.
He just did it. Then he gets aim and he goes, tequila. He's like in a button-up shirt and tie.
It's 100% something like Josh would do.
Oh, it's so funny.
Tequila.
Skeet, skeet, motherfucker. Come on, skeet, skeet, goddamn.
And that's why we're an explicit podcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's like one episode that isn't marked as explicit, and I don't know if that's intentional or if I just forgot to press the button.
Quality. I like English breakfast, and I like it with some mint in it and some hazelnut syrup in it, and it tastes like Christmas.
She said some mint. I heard I put some cement in it. I was like, what the fuck does that mean?
The tea I've been drinking.
Grounded.
Jesus Christ.
All anime lovers, weebs. We need to find a word for like that hot topic Tim Burton. That's not emo or golf, but something that's like weeb, something that sounds...
Scene kids? It's a word. It's called scene kids.
No, it's gotta be something that sounds offensive. Weebs sounds offensive. Dweebs. You damn dweebs.
Oh, that's gonna be that.
And your Tim Burton movies and your striped socks.
And your
Monster energy drinks.
Crooked window A.
I drank a legit Monster the other day, and it like you know in Doctor Strange where the Ancient One punches him out of his body. I drank it, and like my soul left in my body and went back in time to 15-year-old me, and I was just like, that sucked.